everybody for joining the webinar. My name is Michael Stelmach, and I'm also joined by Matthew Willie. We're both with Tivity. We deliver products and services that are built for the Microsoft Cloud around Microsoft's productivity solutions. And we're here to talk to you today about an integrated solution between IT service management and project portfolio management. It's an interesting topic that's quite broad, and we want to just outline some of the value propositions that come with integrating these two worlds and connecting them a bit better to enable you to better deliver IT services and technology solutions to your customers. So to set the stage and talk a little bit about the evolution of the modern IT organization, I want to talk a bit about the rise of technology and how it's been evolving and changing and impacting businesses all around us. Known brands like Amazon and Netflix and Uber and Coca-Cola are among the few that have transformed themselves from the traditional brick and mortar systems and organizations to really technology-driven organizations where technology and everything that has to do with it is really the driving factor and the central force between the success and growth and evolution of those businesses. That evolution has actually impacted the IT organization more than any other business unit within the traditional corporate structure. We see the products of these companies every day. We can touch and feel them. We can get into a car that is operated by Uber. You get things in the mail from Amazon, but in reality, all of those tangible products and services are actually enabled at their core by the technologies that these companies are able to enable and are able to deliver rapidly and evolve to their customers to enable the products and services that they offer. And that is really a major shift from the traditional model where things were relying on manufacturing and other physical aspects, where now IT and technology is really central to the success of the business, which places a lot of pressure and emphasis on the IT organization to be incredibly successful and incredibly disciplined in being able to deliver that technology, because it's really the driving force behind the business. Having said that, what we're seeing a lot today is there is still quite a disconnect between the various disciplines and the various work streams within the IT organization, where companies are struggling to really get in sync and deliver complex technology solutions, and also have the ability to quickly evolve them as change and the pace of the business world continues to increase, and also the ability to maintain them and make sure that these complex, large-scale operations that are reliant on technology working well around the clock, that we have the right amount of uptime and the minimal amount of issues. We also want to be able to capture the various issues and change requests and so on, and have the ability to act on them and prioritize them and actually resolve them and improve things going forward. And that really requires quite a bit of dialogue and quite a bit of visibility across all of these disciplines, so that we're able to run an efficient and effective technology organization that really impacts the business in a positive way and supports the business in a positive way. So looking at the various components of the work that the modern IT organization typically deals with, of course, we have project management in the center, which is really our ability to drive change within the organization and generate and deliver projects to achieve specific business outcomes to drive things forward. And the work on the project side generally consists of the various tasks and work packages, and then we also manage any kind of issues and changes in actions around the project delivery. We also have service management, which is where we manage incidents and problems, so things that are unplanned and unpredictable that happen with technology. And we also manage change there as well in a controlled fashion so that it's predictable and reliable. We also have application management, where we manage our software and everything that enables the various technology components. And this is where typically we get more into the agile world, where we use epics and features and user stories to capture and develop requirements and then translate them into design and ultimately software that will be deployed to introduce new functionalities or enhance existing functionalities. And what we're seeing today, really, for the most part, there are very few organizations that have all of these pieces connected together for overall visibility and the ability to manage things across the board. And what's happening is, as these systems are disconnected, the challenges that we're running into is all of the resources that are working on these work streams and the management decisions that have to go into the prioritization and the enabling of successful delivery of all of these work streams really more and more are expected to and need to work together in order to achieve common business outcomes. And by having these things in different disconnected systems and different processes, we really are struggling to deliver on the integrated solutions and to support them moving forward. So, certainly as we get into the larger scale of this problem, it really becomes quite a challenge to manage. So there is a maze of processes and applications that are being used to manage work. There is really very little or no transparency when it comes to costs, into understanding whether value is being delivered, whether we are delivering the right level of customer service, whether the work that we're doing is actually aligned strategically to what we want to achieve in the short, long, and the long run. And really, it means that we're unable to really make informed decisions to set the direction for our technology organization. And by dealing with silos and unclear information, there is really quite a bit of struggle going on. And ultimately, it results in a set of issues that most organizations right now just cannot afford, right? So we have confused employees that don't always know how to best support their customers and don't even have visibility to that. We have quite a bit of lost productivity, no consistent processes across the board, a very complex environment that's convoluted and doesn't allow us to necessarily see value that we're delivering to our customers. So all of this is quite a bit of an issue. If we dive deep a bit and look at this from a role-based perspective, the typical players in delivering the work and setting direction for the work, of course, we have project managers that are being tasked with and responsible for delivering projects, and they don't always have good visibility into the status and progress of the work that is being done. They don't have good visibility into the availability of the resources that are there to deliver those tasks. We have executives who are struggling to get visibility into the work that's being done and how it's aligning to the strategy that they're setting, and also are unclear on the value being realized from that work or not being realized from that work, and ultimately cannot pull things together to have the right information for making decisions. And then we have, on the other side of the house, developers who generally need different types of tools for planning and delivering their work than project managers. And we also have support, where more and more visibility into product roadmaps and into customer projects and the changes that are coming down the pike are becoming critical for support to be aware of and to be engaged with in order for them to provide adequate levels of support to existing and future customers. So what it's causing is really this rift and disconnect between the various systems and processes and roles that is resulting in the challenges that we were talking about. So we have tools that are designed for a specific purpose that are trying to be used by other departments that are struggling with getting value out of those tools. And it's really causing quite a bit of challenges. So as part of solving this problem with both technology and with process and integration, Tivity has a product that we call Project Connect that really enables the integration between these various systems that are being used to enable data visibility and transparency across the various disciplines and various flows, to connect it all together and really enable folks to work in the manner that they prefer to work and that really adds value and productivity to their workday, but also gives us the ability to then centrally manage things and get visibility to the service management side of the house, as well as the project management side of the house. And the key here, and the reason for this integration approach, is that we've seen historically that there are many tools out there that really try to be everything to everyone, and that model is pretty much failed now. It's a very rare instance where we can see one tool that is able to do everything for all the different stakeholders and all the different roles and profiles that we have out there. People really do work in different ways depending on their role and the nature of their work. And there are great best-in-class solutions out there that are purpose-built to enable certain types of work to be done efficiently and productively. And the idea of replacing those with one tool is just outdated. So instead, the approach that we see working out very well across organizations out there is to connect those tools together in the right manner and at the right connection points, so that we're able to deliver the visibility and the transparency to the organization, so that all work can be managed together, so that we can plan things accordingly, and so on. So with our Project Connect integration platform, we're able to deliver integration between the project management world, specifically Microsoft's Project Online, with other line of business applications. So in today's presentation, we'll be specifically focusing on the service management piece of this, and we'll be looking at Microsoft Dynamics CRM Service Cloud as well as ServiceNow, and we'll follow up with a demo shortly to show you how some of that works. And we're also able to integrate with other line of business systems as well, such as financial integration, software development tools, professional services, automation, and so on. So the idea here is we let everybody use the tools they want to use and like to use, and the tools that are appropriate for their role, while serving up the connecting tissue to make sure that visibility and transparency and data flows are enabled. So we are managing IT and a technology organization as an integrated business and are able to get the right data to make decisions that we need in order to stay competitive and to deliver world-class solutions to our customers. So the outcomes and the benefits of having a efficient integration platform is really the ability to have comprehensive reporting, visibility across systems. So we're able to dive into the work stream and understand its impact on the value to the business, its outcomes, the status, and then the roll-up reporting that would have enabled us to do some centralized planning and control. So we're seeing across the entire organization. Actually, in the IT world, resources are always a major constraint, and the ability to see across systems really gives us the way to proactively manage and plan for capacity of IT resources and cope with demand that constantly shifts depending on business priorities and the business environments that we operate in. We also are able to achieve more streamlined collaboration across roles. So as we mentioned before, it is becoming more and more critical for folks, for example, on the service management side of things, to understand what is happening on the project management side of the world. So as change is being pushed out and as things are evolving being more proactive and having that visibility and transparency as far as where the direction of the business is going is absolutely essential for the folks who are supporting customers, whether it's internal or external, so that they're able to be proactive and so that they're able to be delivering excellent customer service in a proactive way, not necessarily scrambling and being caught off guard by new solutions being rolled out or changes being rolled out. And ultimately, the outcome, of course, is happy users of these tools, and even more importantly, this starts to translate into happy customers and our ability to truly delight our internal and external customers with world-class solutions. So as we get into a bit more detail in terms of how these solutions actually look like and what the data flows would look like and how it could actually all click and work together, this is an example of an integrated IT management use case that includes all traditional project work and our waterfall projects, our application development work and our agile projects, and then services, the services piece, which is our requests and changes and problems. So with this integrated approach, we're able to enable a demand funnel, so the ability to capture projects, requests, and changes, and then go through a selection exercise where these are prioritized and optimized depending on the value to the business and the current objectives that we have set out for ourselves. And then from there, they get on their own path in terms of process and technology to be managed by the appropriate team that would own the work using the tools that they want to use and really should use to deliver this work. And then, of course, all of this feeds a common reporting framework that allows us to have across the board standard metrics, dashboards, status reports, and allows us to execute in an orchestrated and coordinated fashion, and allows us to manage things like resources and work and time across all of these things. And of course, that means we can now drive visibility back into our business value discussions, and also continue this in a loop where demand is being fed not only by the new things coming in, but also by what we're seeing in the current portfolio of work and in-flight projects. So today, when we get into the demo part of this, we will focus on a couple of use cases. One is, as there's usually more than one way to do this right, and it really depends on your organizational preferences, and that's where the power of Project Connect comes along, is we're able to actually set things up where some of these systems end up being customer facing, and we can use, for example, in this particular scenario, ServiceNow or another service management tool as an intake mechanism that is opened up to all of our communities that interact with IT as a single interface and a single front door, so to speak, to IT, where we're able to capture these things. And then through our Connect interface, we're able to then feed the right data elements into the project management system as they become projects and as we manage them there. And then, of course, project updates and any data on current status and actuals, whether it's cost and time, can then be fed back into the, in this example, the ServiceNow system, so that we're being able to holistically see across the board what's coming in, where demand is, as well as where things are in terms of execution. Another approach to this is kind of the reverse, where we're actually using the project management system as the intake for everything, and then feeding the service management system with things that come out of the project world in terms of service requests, break-fix issues, and other things that we would require a service management organization to deal with. And then we would, again, feed status on those back into the project management system. We could also use the PPM system then for overall visibility and analysis of resource supply and demand, and use it to make decisions in terms of where to staff up the organization, as well as selecting projects and scheduling them. So these are a couple of the use cases that we'll go through today. And with that, I'm sure everybody's anxious to see how this could actually work. I'd like to turn it over to Matthew Willie, who is our technology expert, and he will take us through a demo of how this could work in real life with Project Online and ServiceNow. And I believe we'll also be looking at Microsoft's service management solution as well. So with that, over to you, Matthew.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michael. All right. So I'm logged in here into ServiceNow, and we're going to go through some of those use cases that Michael was just speaking about. So the first one is I have things coming into ServiceNow like ideas and changes, projects, incidents, problems, right? All these different types of things. And at some point, we might want to convert one of those into a project. For example, right now, I'm looking at my ideas. I have a list of all of my ideas here. And if these ideas look interesting, we might want to push them into a project online, do some prioritization and selection to figure out which of these ideas are going to give us the most value for the costs, that type of a thing. So to do that, it's as simple as coming into ServiceNow. I just check my idea off, say create project, and that's going to push it over. Then we'll jump over there in a second and do some of that analysis and such. But notice we can see here, okay, there's a project pending, or some of those ideas have already been approved and we're showing that project work is in progress. So we're sending back some information as well so people can get a status on these ideas and get any other information that we want to send back as well. Showing that in a different light, let's say we also have changes, right? I'm going to come in and go to my changes view here. And I can see I have a lot of different changes, but we have sort of a change management process where they get approved and such. But what happens if a change gets approved and we need to really create a full-blown project to manage that change and the schedule of that change and issues and all the different types of things that may arise when you're trying to actually implement that change? If we want to do that, same kind of use case, we come in, we can select a change, hit create project, and that's going to push that over into Project Online. Same thing with projects. There's a project module in ServiceNow. There's lots of different modules within here. So any of the different modules, we can push that information over as basically requested projects where we can then do some prioritization. So that's what I'm going to jump into now. So now I'm in Project Online. I've created a scenario to prioritize some of these different ideas and changes and project requests and these things that are coming in from all these different places, right? We can funnel them all together and say, okay, we have a certain amount of budget. We have $4 million, let's say. Not only which projects can we do with $4 million, better is what projects should we do out of those ideas and changes and all these different types of things, right? And what this is telling me is we should do these projects. That's going to give me 66% of the value of if we were to do all of the projects if I focus my money in this area. And it's telling me I should not do these projects. I'm not going to get nearly the amount of value comparatively to the cost of those projects. So this is going to give us the most value, and that's how we're going to be most efficient with our money. But then I can go, well, we need to get more projects done. What's that going to take? Well, I can do a scenario and say, well, what if we get an extra $1 million? Now we have $5 million. Notice we can get about 87% or so of the value out of our portfolio now. We got a lot more projects in there. Notice you can force things in and force things out. So definitely if there's something that you have to do, it's a compliance type project or whatever it might be, we have to do that, great, force it in. And if there are things you absolutely know you don't want to do, maybe we just know that we don't have the skill or the maturity or whatever it might be to do that right now, you can force those types of things out. And then I can see my two scenarios down here. If I spend $4 million, I get this much value, about 66. If I spend $5 million, I can get 87%. And then the next part of this is, beyond just the cost, do we have the resources to do this? Which is always a big question, right? We have the money, let's go do the projects. Well, wait a minute, do we have the people and the materials and the equipment and whatever it might take to do these projects? So in this next area here, what it's showing me is, out of all the projects that we have money to do, now it's showing me, well, you actually only have resources to do some of those projects, and here are the ones that you should do that are going to give you the most value, about 62% of the value. But from there, we can start to do things like, you can see that all of these projects are scheduled to start around the same time. They're not very staggered. So what we can do is we can update the start dates on these and say, we're going to push this out 6 months and see how that affects it. We can also say, well, what if I hire resources? I can come here and, if we're willing to hire 6 resources and recalculate and see how that affects it, right? So we know we have the money to do these projects, but we don't have the resources. So we either need to move projects around and we do some what-if planning there, or we need to say, what if we hire some resources, maybe a mixture, and we can create some different scenarios and take that back to the business and say, okay, if you want us to do all this demand coming in, here's what we need, here's the plan of when things are going to start and kind of finish. And then from there, you can approve that work and then start to execute on it. So jumping out into my projects area now, I have all these approved projects and I have some in-flight, in-progress projects, and we can kind of see how they're doing, and we can start to manage the schedules and the issues and the risks and documents and all the different things around those particular projects here within Project Online. All along, we're sending that information back into ServiceNow so that change managers can see the updates on those changes as they progress, and make updates as necessary. And, you know, people who submitted those ideas can see, hey, my idea is being worked on, cool, great, you know, sending feedback over there. So that's a use case. Another use case is that we can have all of our work that's around all of our services and such synced into Project Online. Specifically, for multiple reasons. One of the main ones is for resource management and visibility into what your resources are working on and if they're over-allocated or not. So I can switch here to my service summary view. And we're offering all these different services, you know, granting access to applications, resolving telephone issues, setting up servers, you know, whatever services that we might be offering to the business. Pull all those in, and behind all of this is work. Work meaning service requests and incidents and problems and changes and, you know, all this different work that's behind these services to keep these services running. We can suck in all of that information from either ServiceNow, or I'm going to show you right now. This is actually CRM's service management system, CRM meaning Microsoft CRM. And within CRM, there's a whole service management component that allows you to track cases and schedule those cases. And cases are basically incidents and problems and things of that nature. And we can see we have some high priority ones, some low priority ones, normal priorities, right? But basically, we're taking all of this work and we're pushing that all back into Project Online under those different services that they're related to. And then what we're able to do with that is we're able to do some resource management, right? We're able to get visibility into not just what people are working on from a project perspective and not just what people are working on from a service management perspective, but we can tie that all together and get visibility into what's going on. And the way we do that is I come into my resource pool here, and I can see I have a lot of different resources. Right now I'm going to focus on my business analysts, and I want to see what my business analysts are working on from services to projects, etc. And I come into my capacity planning view, and it's going to give me an overview of everything that these people are working on, right? So Amy is working on multiple different items here. These could be services or projects, right? They're all going to show up here all together. Like Lisa's working on server upgrades, you know, that service there. Her team is working on granting access to applications. That's a service, and that's mixed in with projects like, you know, System Center audit and Delve training and things of that nature, right? But the idea is when I come in here, now I see, okay, Amy's working on these 2 different buckets of work, and here's how much time it's set to take from her. Is she over-allocated, under-allocated, or in the green? So if it's red here, we can easily see over-allocated in that period of time. We're giving Amy too much work. That's going to put schedules at risk. That's going to degrade our service quality if she's working on services and things of that nature. So we want to try to clear that up. If they're blue, we're not giving them enough work. We're not utilizing those resources enough. And therefore, we're not getting the most bang for our buck. We could be doing more with the resources that we have. So we need to figure out and get some more work, you know, all that demand coming in and help schedule it on to those people who have availability. If they're green, then they're right in the nice area. They're maybe a little bit over, a little bit under, but they're somewhere around the area where we want them to be. So our goal is to get everyone in the green. Not always an easy thing to do, but at least this gives us visibility into it. Both the work coming out of ServiceNow and or CRM, if depending on, you know, whatever ITSM solution that you're using. Bringing that in with all that project work and operational work and such, pulling that all together and getting an idea across the board of what people are working on. If you want to take that to the next level, I can come into my assignment view here, and not only can I now see what projects and services and such people are working on, but I can see the work items below that, the tasks, the issues, the incidents, problems, changes, you know, whatever it might be, any of the work items they're working on, those cases and such, right? I can see the details of those here as well if I want to get more detailed information around what they're actually working on. Cool, cool. So hopefully you can see how you can bring all that information together, and it's going to give you visibility into it, not just from a resource management perspective, but we could also pull in actual hours, and we can get an idea from a timesheet perspective how many hours people are working all together within one system, and that can kind of keep going. The other nice thing is if I come into my work more as a team member, you know, it's always a challenge if you're working in multiple systems. Let's say I'm working in ServiceNow and Project Online. Well, if we bring that information together, now when I come here, I don't just see my project tasks, I also see my service incidents and requests and things of that nature in here. So I have one view where I can come in, see all of my work, and then I can status that work back. So I come in here and I mark it complete and say, yep, I did that, and I can send that status out, and that's going to go back to ServiceNow if that originated in ServiceNow. That's going to go back to a project manager, and they're going to see that update if that came from a project, right? But we have that view into everything, and we can status update things from here and push them back into their proper systems, just like magic. All right, so from there, I'm going to jump into Power BI real quick. Power BI is really great. It's a reporting tool, reporting BI and analytics tool that allows you to get really nice, rich reports and dashboards. These reports and dashboards are also mobile enabled, so you can get them on your phone, your tablet. This is built into the Office 365 suite, so if you have Office 365, it's just a simple activation of this feature on there. As well as you can have it standalone if you don't have Office 365, no requirements there. So the types of reports we can build are, you know, anything that you want as long as we have the data there. But this here is an example of ITSM type dashboard. I'm going to pop into it right now. So in my ITSM dashboard, I can mix information together. Let's say I'm an IT manager, and I want to get an overview of what IT is doing as a whole, not just the projects, not just the services, but all of that. Bring it all together into one dashboard, so I only have to go to one place to see all that information. So I can come in, I can see how's my portfolio of projects doing. Some of those projects originated from ServiceNow, those ideas and changes and projects and such that came over from there. Pulling those all together and getting visibility into the cost, into the risk of our portfolio. This bubble chart showing risk versus reward, so hopefully we're getting some reward for our risk. And right next to that we see services. And I can see that we're having some issues resolving data storage issues, right? We're only getting 2 out of 5 stars on that, so our service rating's not very high. And right above that, though, we're doing pretty good resolving application issues. We have 4.5 out of 5 stars. We're doing really good there, right? That type of a thing. But it's nice, right? I go to one place and I can get all the information I want around our IT organization within these particular dashboards. Counts of requests over time, so we can see if the amount of demand is going up or going down. Hopefully it's going down as we improve processes and efficiencies and such. Down here we have a resource management one that's showing me the amount of work comparatively to my availability. And if I click into that, any of those charts, by the way, if I click into them, then I can start to drill in. I come in, for example, in my resource management report, and I just want to focus in, let's say, on certain roles, right? I'm interested right now in my project managers and my developers and my DBAs, let's say, that kind of a thing. So I can focus on that, get a nice dashboard of what's going on with my resources here, percent of availability, work by type, etc. And then we can flip through and tab into the different categories of resource management, like utilization. How are we utilizing our resources? Availability, then. How available are people over time? And drilling in even further, there's drilling capabilities within each one of these tables or charts and such, where I can come in and go, okay, here's my project managers here. You know, how available are they? And if I want to drill in, I can just click on that, and now it shows me all of my project managers and who's over allocated and not. You know, and I can kind of get down to that very detailed level of data if I want to, all the way down to individual resources, or I can sit way back up high at my dashboard and just kind of see an overview of what's going on. So it's really nice how you can come in and you can drill in or drill out into these different reports, and then you can start to see what's going on in all these rich visuals and get a better idea of, in this case, how your resources are doing. But, you know, lots of different areas. We can drill into cost. We can drill into time, you know, actual hours spent, right? We can drill into all these different places, project status, things of that nature. Cool, cool. So hopefully you can see how tying these two systems together can create efficiencies between the two teams, tying that work together, as well as give you visibility into your entire IT organization all within one place instead of having to always go to multiple different systems and trying to manually pull that information together in like an Excel spreadsheet to get these types of reports. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Michael just for some closing slides, and then we'll let you guys go for the day. So here you go, Michael.
Thank you very much, Matthew. So as we've just seen, the integration platform that we offer allows quite a bit in terms of flexibility and functionality. And just to explain a little bit about how the integration actually works, we have the integration platform that really enables and contains a lot of the big business logic and the code that allows for the data to flow. And then we have what we call connectors for each specific application that are pre-built and available from a library to basically plug into the integration platform and enable the data flow. And the solution is configurable, so we work with our customers to map out and understand their data flows and their business processes on both ends of the integration, and then configure the connector accordingly to make sure that we enable the right data flows to flow in the right directions. So it's a much easier approach than writing something custom, and we've seen quite a bit of success with it at many customers now. You can learn more about Tivity and our products and services by going to our website. I'm flashing that now on the screen, and also feel free to contact us directly as well with any kind of questions. We'd be happy to chat with you about your particular situation and see how we can help you guys out.